Well, hey, Hope City, we are back again going through the book of Psalms as a team here. And we're pulling in different members of our team just to give thoughts and encouragement. And today we've got Pastor Phil, Pastor Ken, we've got Rochelle from our Connections team, and myself. And as I said, we're going through Psalm 4 today. And so I'll be reading that in a moment. I'm going to read through the NLT, the New Living Translation. But before we do that, I want to give just a little bit of context into Psalm 4. This is what we would call a lament. So this is King David basically kind of grieving a little bit in his reality and just having that kind of time of a bit of a struggle. And I think a lot of people can relate to that in this time that we're in today. And but we're going to read this and we're going to just see just his trust in the Lord. So let me go ahead and read that for us today. Here we go, Psalm 4. Answer me when I call to you, O God, who declares me innocent. Free me from my troubles. Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. How long will you people ruin my reputation? How long will you make groundless accusations? How long will you continue your lies? You can be sure of this. The Lord set apart the godly for himself. The Lord will answer when I call to him. Don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. Offer sacrifices in the right spirit and trust the Lord. Many people say, who will show us better times? Let your face smile on us, Lord. You have given me greater joy than those who have abundant harvests of grain and new wine. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, will keep me safe. Now, just like Psalm 3, we find David fleeing from his son Absalom, which is kind of messed up that he's fleeing from his own kid, and so he's in this, been driven out of his kingdom and his area, and now he's kind of just wrestling with this. He's got people after him. So in that reality of uncertainty, I think we can read this and just see in our uncertainty of just the reality of everything going on, just what we can do to really rely on the Lord and trust Him. So team, what do you guys think? What stood out to you, and what would you like to share?
I think for me, in the end, when it talks about having greater joy, that's pretty cool. That kind of showing the parallel of a future that's certain compared to a future that's not.
Mm-hmm.
How God can give us greater joy.
It's good.
Yeah. I like, well, there's a few things here that really stood out for me. But verse 6, who will bring us prosperity? I think in this season that we're living in, where we feel like all our resources, everything that we relied upon kind of in life, we're feeling like we're losing that. And all of a sudden the question lies, who's going to make this better for us? Who's going to bring us prosperity? And his answer is really, God, you fill my heart with joy. So it's through what God does in our life. It's not through external circumstances, it's through the internal. And then the verse before that says, hey, when you're on your beds, search your hearts and be silent. So, in other words, find those moments where you're actually just looking in your own life and saying, where am I finding my true security? Where am I finding my true worth and my true value? And if it is in God, the stuff on the outside will actually feel a little less important, or at least less cumbersome or worrisome. So that stood out for me. That's one of them there.
It's good.
Yeah, that idea that these times have kind of sucked out some joys in our life, no doubt about it, right? I mean, vacations are, me and my wife are wondering, okay, now what do we do, right? And these things that
dude, I can't even go out, right?
Yeah,
kids are
and we're
always
laughing
around.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we're laughing about it, because sometimes it's just easier to do than cry about it. But all these joys have been taken away from our life, and I just wonder, as it's kind of been a theme with some of you guys talking right now, just a thought: are some of these lesser joys in life that we've kind of counted as the greatest joys, whatever that might be, right? Security or nice homes or whatever it might be, vacations. This idea of greater joy, could God in the season in our life replace these lesser joys, which we thought were the best, with actually the best, the joy of salvation, the joy of the Lord that we actually find our joy in? Yeah. Yeah, I thought verse 4 was just really wise. I just kind of stuck on that, and I said that was really just wise. Don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. Like a world of trouble, how much that would save people if they just did that. man. But number 5 is the one that I was reading it that just really stuck out to me. Just offer sacrifices in the right spirit and trust the Lord. You know, today is payday, and I got in this habit about 4 years ago that whenever I get paid or whenever my wife gets paid, we get paid on different times. The first thing I do before I eat breakfast is tithe. That's kind of what I've gotten the habit of doing, and it's just worked for me. Then last week, when my wife got paid, I for the first time that I can remember, I'm like, should I do this? I'm a little worried about my financial future and what's going on. And it was almost like this tug of war that I had with God in my tithe, right? It was kind of like, ooh, do you want this? I'm like, fine, you have it. And I tithed, right? And then, you know, today it was one of those sense where I was in that tug of war again. And it was just this, God, take it and do so much more. Thank you for giving me, you know, what I have. And it was this different, it was still the same tithe and still the same transaction, but in the spirit in which I was able to do it today, as opposed to last week, it was just so different, right? And God cares about how we sacrifice, not just the sacrifice, but how we sacrifice. He's not, you know, so interested in the ceremony or ritual of it, but kind of the heart behind it. And so, anyway, that was just something that stuck out to me because it was fresh for me today.
Well, I love what it says after that, Ken, verse 5 says, offer sacrifices in the right spirit and trust the Lord, right? That's kind of what hits me is, you know, when we say sacrifices in this context can be so many things in our reality right now, right? But in everything we do, we trust him. And with that, verse 8 is what stands out to me. And if you go back to Psalm 3, it mentions this as well. There's something about when David refers to sleeping and trusting God. I love it. And I love sleeping. I think we all have taken a quick 5 now and then, but just in this, I'm going to read it again. Verse 8, it says, in peace, I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, will keep me safe. Back in Psalm 3, it talked about, you know, I'm going to paraphrase, but basically I'm going to lay my head down with tens of thousands coming around me. I'm gonna sleep, right? And just that just shows me, man, because I know people in this context, maybe you're watching this and maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe you're just so full of anxiety and just worry and these things right now because of everything going on. But David's saying, hey, no, you can actually trust God so much that you can take a nap. You know what I mean? Like you can cast your anxiety and your cares upon him so much that you can just go and just let it go. And that's what really